Hi guys, welcome back. Domain 6 Cryptographic and PKI. Chapter 6.3. Given a scenario, install and configure wireless security settings. Okay, we are going to see the three topics here: methods, wireless security methods, wireless security cryptographic protocol, wireless security authentication protocol. Okay, first we will see the wireless cryptographic protocol. So, wireless network by their very nature make physical security protections against rogue connections difficult. This lack of physical barrier makes protection against others eavesdropping on a connection also a challenge. Cryptographic protocols are the standard used to describe cryptographic methods and implementations to ensure interoperability between different vendors' equipment. WEP, so wired equivalent privacy, WEP. So the designer of the 802.11 protocol also attempt to maintain confidentiality in wireless systems by introducing WEP, which uses a cipher to encrypt the data as it is transmitted through the air. WEP was initially a success, but over time several weaknesses were discovered in the protocol. WEP has been shown to have an implementation problem that can be exploited to break security. WEP encrypts the data traveling across the network with an RC4 stream cipher. Attempting to ensure confidentiality, these synchronized methods of encryption ensure some methods of authentication. The system depends on the client and the access point having a shared secret key. Ensuring the only authorized people with the proper key have access to the wireless network, WEP support 2 key length, 40 and 104 bits. Even though these are more typically referred to as 64 and 128 bits. In 802.11a and 802.11g, manufacturer extended this to 152-bit WEP keys. This is because in all cases 24 bits of the overall key length are used for initialized vector 4. The 4 is the primary reason for the weaknesses in WEP. The 4 is sent to the plain text part of the message, and because the total key space is approximately 16 million keys, the same key will be reused. Once the key has been repeated, an attacker has 2 ciphertexts encrypted with the same key stream. This allows the attacker to examine the ciphertext and retrieve the key. These attacks can be improved by examining only packets that have weak force, reducing the number of packets needed to crack the key. Using only weak force packets, the number of required captured packets is reduced to around 4 or 5 million, which can take only a few hours on a fairly base AP access point. Okay, for a point of reference, this means a equipment within the advertised WEP key of 128 bit can be cracked in less than a day, whereas crack a normal 128 bit key would take roughly some years on a computer able to attempt 1 trillion keys a second. Okay, so the biggest weakness of WEP is the 4 problem exists regardless of key length, because the 4 always remains at 24 bits. Most AP also have the ability to log in access only the known MAC address, providing a limited authentication capability given sniffer capacity to grab all active MAC address on the network. WPA, the first standard to be used in the market to replace WEP was WPA. This standard uses the flawed WEP algorithm with the temporal key integrity TKIP integrity protocol. Okay, so TKIP works by using a shared secret combined with the card's MAC address to generate a new key, which is mixed with the 4 to make pair packet keys that encrypt a single packet using the same RC4 cipher used by traditional WEP. This overcomes the WEP key's weakness as a key is used on only one packet. The other advantage to this method is that it can be retrofitted to current hardware with only a software change, unlike advanced encryption standards on 802.1x. While WEP uses a 40 bits and 104 bits encryption key that must be manually encrypted on wireless access point and device and doesn't change, TKIP employs a per packet key, generate a new 128-bit key for each packet. This can generally be accomplished with only a firmware automator, enabling a simple solution to the types of attack that compromise WEP. So WPA2 Wi-Fi protected access version 2. IEEE 802.11i is the standard for security in wireless network and is also known as WPA2. It uses 802.1x to provide authentications and uses AES as the encryption protocol. WPA2 uses the AES block cipher, a significant improvement over WEP and WPS uses of the RC4 stream ciphers. The 802.11i standard specific the use of CCPM. We will discuss this next slide. So the CCPM standard for counter modes the cipher blocks chain message authentication code protocol. CCPM is a data encapsulation encryption mechanism designed for wireless use. CCPM is actually the mode in which the AES cipher is used to provide message integrity. Unlike WPA, CCMP requires new hardware to perform the AES encryption. Okay, so you can now see WPA-PS key. So it uses a pre-shared key to authenticate and validate users on a wireless LAN or Wi-Fi connection. WPA Enterprise 802.1x, as we discussed earlier, so increase security for larger organizations require ADS authentication servers. TKIP, Temporal Key Integrity Protocol, was created as a stopgap security measure to replace the WEP protocol without requiring the replacement of legacy hardware. The breaking of WEP had left Wi-Fi networks without viable link layer security, and a solution was required for already deployed hardware. TKIP works by mixing a secret root key with the before RC4 encryption. WPA TKIP uses the same underlying mechanism as WEP and consequently is vulnerability to a number of similar attacks. TKIP is no longer considered secure and has been deprecated with the release of WPA2. Okay, wireless access method. Methods previously described historically. Multiple protocols have been developed to support secure of wireless network, including WEP, WPA, and WPA2, WEP. So WEP is by all practical means no longer a viable method of maintaining any significant security. WPA is not much better, which leaves us primarily with WPA2. WPA2 has several modes: PSK and Enterprise. Okay, so the final method is a capture portal, a means of capture a guest user and forcing a sign-in process across a web-based connection to establish a connection to an open Wi-Fi network. So here the PSK versus enterprise versus open. So when building out a wireless network, you must decide how you are going to employ security on the network. Specifically, you need to address who will be allowed to connect and what level of protection will be provided in the transmission of data between mobile devices and the access point. Both WPA and WPA2 we discussed in the earlier have two methods to establish a connection, PSK and enterprise. PSK standard for pre-shared key, which is exactly what it sounds like, a secret that has to be shared between users. A PSK is typically entered as a password of up to 63 characters. This key must be securely shared between users, as it is the basis of security provided by the protocol. The PSK is converted to 256-bit key that is then used to secure all communication between the device and access points. PSK has one particular vulnerabilities. Simple and short PSK are at risk of brute force attempts. Keeping the PSK at least 20 random characters long or longer should mitigate this attack vector. So in enterprise mode, the device uses IEEE 802.1x and a radius authentication server to enable a connections. These methods allow the use of users' usernames and passwords and provide enterprise classes options such as network access control, integrations, multiple random keys instead of every sharing the same PS key. If everyone has the same PS key, then secrecy between client is limited to other means, and in the event of one client failures, other could be compromised. In WEP based systems, there are two options: open system authentication and shared key authentications. Open system authentication is not truly authentication, for it's merely sharing of a secret key based on the SSID. The process is simple. The mobile clients matches SSID with the access points and request a key to the access point. Then the access point generated an authentication code, a random numbers intended for use only during the sessions. The mobile clients use the authentication code and join the network. The sessions continue until disassociated either by request or loss of signal. Let's move on next slide. WPS. Okay, WPS is a network security standard that was created to provide users with an easy method of configuring wireless networks. Designed for home networks and small business networks, this standard involves the use of 8-digit PIN to configure wireless device. WPS consists of a series of EAP messages and has been shown to be susceptible to a brute force attack. A successful attack can reveal the PIN and subsequently the WPA or WPA2 password and allow unauthorized parties to gain access to the network. Currently, the only effective mitigation is to disable WPS. You can Google it how to set up WPA2 to know more about it. Authentication Protocol, EAP. Authentication protocol or the standardized method used to provide authentication service, and in the case of wireless network remotely. Wireless network have need for secure authentication protocol. You need to understand the following authentications protocol for the security plus the certificate. So EAP, PEAP, EAP-FAST, EAP-TLS, EAP-TTLS, IEEE 802.1x and radius versus true radius. Okay, so first let's see EAP. The extension authentication protocol is a protocol for wireless network that expand an authentication method used by point-to-point protocol. PPP is a protocol that was commonly used to directly connect devices to each other. EAP is designed to support multiple authentication mechanisms, including tokens, smart cards, certificates, one-time passwords and public key encryption authentication. EAP has been expanded into multiple versions, some of which are covered in the following sections. Okay, so first we will see the PEAP, protected EAP. It was developed to protect the EAP communication by encapsulating it with TLS. This is an open standard developed jointly by Cisco, Microsoft, and RSA. EAP was designed assuming a secure communication channel. PEAP provides the protection as part of the protocol through a TLS tunnel. PEAP is widely supported by vendor for use over wireless networks. EAP transport layer security. EAP-TLS to its list of supported protocol for WPA 2 in 2010. EAP-TLS is an IETF open standard that uses the transport layer security protocol to secure the authentication process. EAP-TLS relies on TLS, an attempt to standardize the SSL structure to pass credential. This is still considered one of the most secure implementations, primarily because common implementation employ client-side certificate. This means that an attacker must also possesses the key for the client-side certificate to break the TLS channel. Okay. EAP-TTLS. So the Wi-Fi Alliance also added EAP-TTLS to its list of the supported protocol for WPA 2 in 2010. EAP-TTLS is a variant of EAP-TLS protocols. EAP-TTLS works much the same way of EAP-TLS with the server authentication to the client with a certificate, but the protocol tunnels client side of the authentication, allowing the use of legacy authentication protocols such as password authentication protocol, challenge handshake authentication protocol, CHAP, and then MS-CHAP or MS-CHAP version 2. In EAP-TTLS, the authentication process is protected by a tunnel from man-in-middle attack, and all those client-side certificates can be used. They are not required, making it easier to set up that EAP-TLS to client without certificates. Okay, so the last one, EAP-FAST. So the Wi-Fi Alliance added EAP-FAST to its list of supported protocol for WPA 2 in 2010. EAP-FAST is described in RFC 4851 and proposed by Cisco to be replacement for LEAP, a previous Cisco version of EAP. It offers a lightweight tunneling protocol to enable authentication. The distinguishing characteristic is the passing of protected access control, the protected access credential that is used to establish a TLS tunnel through which client credentials are verified. This is an overview, EAP overview. So how does it working? So you can see on the laptop and the servers how the communications going through the access point, and then Cisco WLC. So here you can see in the EAP types, EAP's FAST and TLS client, and then how this responds, so where it's going. So everything you can see here is a quick overview. So here you can see the PAC key. Okay, so let's go for the authentication protocol. So this is a very good example. So IEEE 802.1x authentication standard that support port-based authentication services between users and an authorization device such as an edge routers. IEEE 802.1x is commonly used on wireless access point as a port-based authentication service prior to admission to wireless networks. IEEE 802.1x over wireless uses it either IEEE 802.11i or EAP based protocols such as EAP-TLS or PEAP-TLS. Okay, So this is the quick table. So you can see here the comparison. You can how useful it is. Okay, exam preparations, also known as WPA personal diseases, security mechanisms used to authenticate and validate users on wireless LAN or Wi-Fi connections. Answer A, WPA PSK. Okay, answer is A. The last one, so exam preparation, this network authentication protocol uses digital certificate based mutual authentication which occurs automatically with no interventions by the user. Answer C, EAP-TLS. Okay, so that's it guys for this video. Please subscribe my channel if you haven't. Share the video if you like. Press the bell button to get more updates. I'll post more practice lab later on videos. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye bye.